Welcome to this short information film on knowing and applying the basics of the ADR transport categories. When viewed with other short information films regarding the transport of dangerous goods, you will begin to appreciate the requirements for the transport risk controls, and you will start to demonstrate a state of competence that your employer expects you to have. A vehicle travelling under the controls of the ADR transport categories can be identified by the fact that the vehicle is displaying ADR orange plates to the front and rear of the vehicle. The displaying of these plates means that the driver is a fully qualified ADR driver and that the vehicle has on board specific emergency equipment to effectively deal with the initial actions that any roadside incident may require. Why do we need such additional arrangements? It all has to do with the weight of the dangerous goods being carried. Requirements for applying the ADR transport categories are contained within the ADR Dangerous Goods Manuals. In order to properly apply these categories, we must first understand how chemicals are allocated transport categories. Imagine for one moment that you have perfected and designed a new chemical that is to be used by your clients. Before you can get the product transported, you must first comply with the chemical classification requirements. Classification of a chemical sees it being placed into one of 9 dangerous goods classes. This is performed by identifying the physical properties of the new chemical and matching it to the specified characteristics identified in the ADR manuals under Part 2 relating to classification. The classification process allows us to identify both a UN number for the product and a packing group too. Remember that the classification and UN number identifies what type of dangerous goods the product is, but the packing group signifies the danger level that the product has. Once packed, labelled and documented, the consignment is offered for carriage. Irrespective of its destination, the carriage commences with road transport and may include sea, rail or air segments of the journey. For all road shipments that start in the UK or Europe, the road DG legislation that applies is known as ADR. The manuals clearly state that should the weight of the dangerous goods product exceed a set limit, then a fully trained driver and ADR marked and equipped vehicle must be sent to collect the load and transport it to its destination or next stage of the multimodal journey. These set weight limits are known as the transport category threshold values, and this is how they are applied. First, you need the UN number of the chemical product that is being offered for transport. A subtle hint here, if you don't have the UN number for the product, you can't do the transport category threshold value, so make sure you have it in hand. Second, you'll need to know the weight of the dangerous goods being shipped. Next, you need the ADR manuals. We'll use Volume 1. You'll then need to access the dangerous goods table at Part 3. This is where we can cross-reference various elements of the manuals to a specific UN number. To the trained practitioner, the DG table can provide detailed information about how to safely prepare and transport a dangerous goods consignment. For our purposes, we are only interested in knowing what the transport category number is for the consignment. When you look at the dangerous goods table, you will notice that the UN numbers are arranged in numerical order down the first and last columns across both pages. There are 20 columns within the table. We are interested in column 15, marked at the top, Transport Category (Tunnel Restriction Code). We need to make a note of the number that relates directly to the UN number. We do this by holding a ruler directly underneath the UN number entry that we are interested in, indicated by this red line, and run another line down the column until they intersect. This is the transport category number for the dangerous goods product. In this example, UN 1885 benzidine has a transport category number of 2. Don't worry at this point about the letters in the brackets. These are the tunnel codes, and these will be explained in another session. Next, we need to go to the section that deals with the transport category threshold values. These are found in Part 1 of the manual at reference 11361. If you are using the 2017 version of the manuals, it's on page 10. Here, you will see the transport category threshold table. Down the column to the left-hand side are the transport category numbers. Down the column on the right-hand side are the permitted weight threshold limits. Let's examine these in more detail. There are 5 transport category numbers, commencing with 0 to 4. 0 means that no matter what weight of dangerous goods product you have, it will always require an ADR driver and vehicle to collect it and transport it. Transport Category 1 has a threshold weight limit of 20 kilograms or litres. If the load exceeds 20 kilograms or litres, then an ADR driver and vehicle is required. Transport Category 2 has a threshold weight limit of 333 kilograms or litres. If the load exceeds 333 kilograms or litres, then an ADR driver and vehicle is required. Transport Category 3 has a threshold weight limit of 1,000 kilograms or litres. If the load exceeds 1,000 kilograms or litres, then an ADR driver and vehicle is required. Transport Category 4 is unlimited. You will never need an ADR driver or vehicle to collect this load. It really is that simple. If you know the weight and UN number of the product, then working out the Transport Category threshold value is easy to apply. But, and there is always a but. What do you do if you have to send a vehicle to collect more than one dangerous goods consignment on the collection route? Multiple loads require a multiplication of the transport categories. Let's work out an example for you. Our vehicle is scheduled to collect 2 dangerous goods loads from different consigners today. The first load is UN 3091 lithium batteries, and the vehicle will collect the load weighing 200 kilograms. As a single load, this is okay because UN 3091 is Transport Category 2, and we can safely take 333 kilograms before needing an ADR driver. The second load is 500 kilograms of UN 2478 isocyanate. The ADR manuals state that for multiple loads we have to apply the following multipliers. Transport Category 1 multiply by 50, Transport Category 2 multiply by 3, and for Transport Category 3 you multiply it by 1. Let's continue with this example. We now need to take the weights of the consignments and apply the multipliers. The lithium batteries are Transport Category 2, so we multiply the weight of the load by 3. This gives a new weight of 600. The isocyanate is Transport Category 3, so we multiply its weight by 1. This stays at 500. Next, we must add the two values together. 600 plus 500 equals 1100. If the total figure of the combined loads added together exceeds the figure of 1,000, then we must use an ADR driver and ADR vehicle. It is therefore vital that before you arrange a collection or delivery containing dangerous goods freight items, you know the UN numbers for the products, the weight of the products, and the transport category number of the products. Have a copy of the 2017 ADR Dangerous Goods Manuals to hand, as well as a pen, paper or calculator. Before we finish, let's just look at the world of limited quantities and accepted quantities. Do we have to work out the transport category numbers for freight marked as limited quantities, or LQ as they're known? The simple answer is no. By using the LQ option, the consignor can exempt themselves from many controls required by the ADR manuals. The shipment is still dangerous goods, but the tight and strict controls are relaxed due to the reduced risk of limited quantity shipments. So to recap the main points, it is the transport operator's responsibility to identify when an ADR driver and ADR vehicle are required to collect and transport the dangerous goods. We need to know the UN number for the product, the weight of the product, and the transport category number of the product. By using the up-to-date copy of the ADR manuals, we can work out whether the transport category threshold value has been exceeded. For multiple loads in the one vehicle, we need to apply the multipliers and ensure that the combined value of the load does not exceed the figure of 1,000. If it does, we will need an ADR driver and an ADR vehicle. Thanks for watching this short information film on ADR transport categories. If you would like to use this film or any of its accompanying images for your company's own dangerous goods training, then please get in contact with us at danleetraining@icloud.com. There will be further short information and instructional training films for dangerous goods skills, but until then, goodbye.